A young couple search for an apartment in the big city to settle down and start a family. They find a cozy little place in New York, close to Broadway, where the neighbors are friendly. They're more than willing to help the couple begin their dream of starting a new family. The neighbors enlist doctors, they throw parties, prepare food, and then tidy up around the house. A seemingly pleasant situation. But beware of what lies behind the hallway closet door. You may feel safe in your modern New York apartment, but the devil is always watching. This is It Records. Good evening, all you creatures of the night, and welcome back to the It Records podcast. I am one of your hosts, Matt Johnson, and the other two are here as well.
What if you're just like we're here by yourself? You're just like pretending to talk to us.
Oh,
Maybe we weren't really here.
The entire time.
Would I make up your voices as well? Would I try to?
Because you're just that talented.
No, people would be able to tell.
You would do it like auto-tune. You just like make different pitches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, maybe I'll try that out. I wouldn't know where to start.
Google.
Yeah. I'll Bing it. I'll Bing auto-tune. So this week...
That's definitely something people say.
Just Bing it? We'll make it a thing.
I say that at least all the time.
I don't think I've honestly ever used Bing. I never have. If it still exists.
Oh, it exists.
So
if I'm ever being something, it's because it's an accident. Like, the page just, refreshes automatically. I never, do it on purpose.
Yeah, I feel like if you have a Microsoft computer, that when you log into the internet somewhere, and, you have to
it's bound to happen.
It comes up automatically once you connect to the internet. Bing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's our soft plug for Microsoft and Bing on the podcast. Hope to get some advertising.
Trying to get a little cushion money
Yep.
there.
Mm-hmm. So this week on the podcast, we watched the 1968 film directed by Roman Polanski, Rosemary's Baby. Rosemary's Baby.
Rosemary's Baby, you said that kind of
Rosemary's Baby. Yeah.
7? Originally, the smallest apartment was a 9. They've been broken up into 4, 5s, and 6s. This room, for instance, it would make a lovely nursery.
Oh, it's a wonderful apartment. I love it.
Let's have a baby.
Miss Woodhouse, congratulations.
Really?
Congratulations.
Winnie Castevet has a herbarium. I'm going to have her make a daily drink for you.
You're pregnant.
Are you aware that the Bradford had rather an unpleasant reputation around the turn of the century?
Awful things happen in every apartment house. She seems so happy and full of... She said wonderful things about you and your husband.
This is for you from Roman and me.
Sometimes I think they're too friendly and helpful. Guy, I have a pain. I'm so afraid the baby's gonna die.
Rosemary, pain like that is a warning that something isn't right.
They're not setting foot in this apartment ever again. What about what's fair to me?
There are plots against people, aren't there? Well, there's one against me and my baby.
If you say anything more about witches or witchcraft, we'll be forced to take you to a mental hospital.
I haven't slipped up that.
Patches, Dad.
He told the doctor to make sure that you got the room that was on his desk.
Read what they do, Guy. They use blood in their rituals. Monsters. You're lying! You're lying! You're lying! What have you done to it?
This was my pick this week for Rosemary's Baby.
Is it a competition now?
What? Based on our picks?
Yeah, it's like which is the most liked pick.
Oh, yes, it is. Now we'll make it one.
Is that a thing now?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly just thought of that just now. Just like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I chose this one, as I mentioned to you guys, just because the last movie we did was Night of the Demon, which was you, Pete, right? Night of the Demon?
Yes.
And I kind of wanted to do a similar occult one, or spirituality one, but was just a little more modern. Which, as we said, is only 10 years after Night of the Demon came out. Rosemary's Baby.
And it's very different.
It is. And it's based off the book by Ira Levin, I believe his name is, of the same title, Rosemary's Baby. And it was produced by, do you guys have the company name? Is it Castle Productions?
I want to say that sounds right. I know William Castle was one of the main producers.
Yeah, that always stuck out to me because he did 13 Ghosts, House on Haunted Hill. He was known for like the B-movie horrors in the 50s and the 60s. And he was really, really jazzed about getting the rights for this book.
Yeah, you are correct. It's William Castle Productions.
Okay, that's what I thought. Which I read that he got the rights for this film even before the book was published. Like he knew, like was talking with Ira Levin because he had made several books before that were movies. I'm drawing a blank on them right now. I should know that, but he wanted to make the next one.
Yeah, and it seems like the movie is about as close as it gets in terms of film adaptation from the book. I read that dialogue, color schemes, clothing, it's all like identical to the book.
Yeah, that's what I was reading. It was very close. Like even the author was, what's the word? He was proud that it was very almost identical to what his work was. It was the closest adaptation that he's had of any of his books.
Yeah. And it's like the only one he likes, I guess, out of all the other books that have been adapted.
Yeah. And even like exact dialogue was used from the book to the script. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, the Ira Levin also wrote Stepford Wives, which is a movie. That was the other one.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I knew there was another one.
Me either.
That was made into a film. This also is Roman Polanski's first American directorial debut. And then he did Downhill Racer, I think, later, but this is the first time Roman Polanski's filming an American movie.
He's not doing those anymore.
Mm-hmm. No, he left like in the 70s, right? He's been out of here for a while.
Was it back then when he left? He fled the country?
I think it happened in the 70s, his incident. And he's been gone ever since. Yeah, short-lived stay.
Short-lived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
after Chinatown? Sorry to interrupt.
After Chinatown? When did Chinatown come out?
Chinatown was 74.
I think, and I don't know the year, I think that's right before he left. I think 76, I wanted to say.
Because The Tenet comes out in 76, and I believe that is not an American movie. I think that's French.
Yes, it is. And I think, what about Repulsion?
That's before Rosemary's Baby, I thought.
That's before? Okay.
Yeah, it's so 65.
65. Which those are all part of a trilogy that he did.
Yeah.
Or a loose trilogy.
Yeah, a loose trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Repulsion, The Tenets, and Rosemary's Baby about like the horrors of
urban,
urban dwellings. Yeah, mm-hmm. Apartment living.
Yeah, I guess that made this movie kind of stand out, right? Because usually, horror movies take place in rural settings. It's not very often that. And this is in the middle of New York City, so it's called urban horror, I believe. Yeah,
that's what I was reading. Is it like took the gothic elements that you found in like old books, in the castles and stuff that might be on isolated rural areas somewhere, and brought it into like a city, into crowded areas where the horrors are now here, present in these populated areas too. So it gets credit for that.
Yeah, I can't think of anything before this that kind of like takes a stab at like urban living in horror movies. Like, it's pretty much the earliest cases of it, and it's even not that popular, but you still see it popping every now and again, like how the Babadook was like, you feel super isolated. She was like in a city.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think they did a good job of that, like making it feel like really claustrophobic a little bit. I mean, because Rosemary never really, there's a few scenes where she's leaving the apartment complex, but for the most part, she's in that home.
Yeah.
The whole time.
In that giant ass apartment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
Which I would get, because it's pretty dope. It's a pretty awesome apartment.
Well, those are actually, it's filmed at the Dakota in New York, which is where John Lennon lived.
Oh, really?
And was killed, yeah, at the Dakota, at those apartments.
Oh.
I thought he died on the street.
Of going into his apartment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, at his apartment complex. So that's where they filmed it.
But that was before he lived there. Right?
This movie? Yeah, I don't think he was living... 68 he might have been. I'm not sure when he moved in. But he was in America in 68.
Yeah, because he
The
died in... I don't even remember when he died.
I believe... It's definitely 1980.
Is it
I believe
80?
it's October... No. It's like December 9th, I think. That might be his birthday. Like October 9th is when he died. It's one of those two. I get him flip-flop, but... 1980 is the year.
I was like, you should know, Matt.
Yeah, 1980.
You're obsessed with John Lennon.
Yeah. Yes, that's where this takes place. Bramford Apartments. Well, that's the fictional apartments, Bramford. Which I guess if we can go into the plot, but I would echo kind of the horror significance we were talking about. They did the urban horror and the dwellings. They took it from the rural area. Is I think this film did a good job of really, and it's a credit to the book, but the movie did it as well, talking to the culture of the time in the 60s. Like, kind of echoing what was going on within this film. I think that works well. A lot of film, even like Jordan Peele did that in Get Out, like a social critique of like racism on now in a horror movie. That kind of did that in Rosemary's Baby and for the 60s, the countercultural movement.
Or like early George Romero movies, how there's a lot of social commentary. With like Night of the Living Dead and Martin, and I think there's the Crazies also tried doing that.
Yeah, definitely. And like Night of the Living Dead, it has a lot of the similar, because that was what, 60, is that a year before this?
Was that a year before this? It seems so much older because it's in black and white.
Right, it's black and white, yeah. But yeah, I think with this one,
which is an unreleased episode from us.
Yeah, those are still in the archives that we can bring out. It'll be like a full hour and a half long episode.
Oh my god, Night of the Living Dead is 68. It's the same year.
Same year. There you go. So I think they echoed a lot of the same countercultural movements. Like more with Rosemary's Baby, I think it was more of the women's movement, with Rosemary being the lead, and there were some, at a larger scale, sort of just the generational shift. I think Guy Woodhouse and Rosemary are the younger 60s generation compared to the elders, which is the Cassavetes. And they're seen as like the World War II generation. And you can definitely see the different dynamics between those two.
It seems like a very Shakespearean name.
The Cassavetes?
Yeah, like something from Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. Yeah, I kept wanting to call them the Cassavetes because that's John Cassavetes is Guy Woodhouse. Yeah. So that was tough for my brain to really comprehend.
It's like basically the same.
I honestly forgot that their name was the Cassavetes until like I watched an analysis video of Rosemary's Baby before we started recording to kind of like get a refresher on things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh yeah, I like legit forgot that was their name. I just remember them as the ridiculous old couple that is cartoonish. Almost.
Yeah.
That wear too much makeup.
Yeah. I guess we've kind of talked about the elements of it, but is there any scenes, I guess, that particularly stood out to you that, or we should mention if you people who haven't seen Rosemary's Baby? It's like a 2.5 hour film, little under, so it goes on for a little while, but I'm not gonna.
I think I don't really have like ones that stand out, but I think it's really good at like just like having really creepy atmosphere throughout the whole time until like the end. So it just like really makes it like kind of builds a sense of terror in a really good way, because you really only see stuff from like Mia Farrow's character's point of view.
Yeah.
Like everything that she's seeing, you're kind of seeing, and it's just like only around her. Like we only follow her. It's like what it seems like. I can't think of this.
Yeah.
An instance where it's not. There's like a scene that doesn't revolve around her.
I believe you're right. It's always she's in the
true.
shot, and it's from her POV. But
And I was gonna say, just finish up the thought that like, so like we're just like, everything that she knows, we know, and she's just like a scared pregnant lady. And I almost feel like a scared pregnant lady when I'm watching this movie.
yeah. Yeah, I think it does a great job of that. You said like building the atmosphere, because Ira Levin was quoted as saying the greatest parts about like writing horror is everything leading up to it. It's not the horror, it's everything before it, not after, that kind of makes it what's terrifying and what's scary. And I think Polanski, being faithful to the novel, did that in the first, like 2 hours of this film, is really make you feel claustrophobic, make you feel paranoid, like Mia Farrow is. Like I really felt paranoid for her, especially when she started to like feel sick, and like she looked pale. Like I kind of like, it really made me feel like off and ill for her. And we're with her, so we're kind of confused and lost the whole time. Like it just seems like everybody's kind of against her, or like. Like even Guy Woodhouse, her husband, is just like, oh, that's an ugly haircut. Oh, just take your vitamins. And it's like everybody's coming down on her the whole time.
I was so shocked by like some of his responses. I was like, oh my god.
He was so dismissive. He just like, I was shocked by how dismissive he was by the way he brushed her off. It's like, yo, you're supposed to be her husband. Like you don't even like. He doesn't, every single thing, whether it's, the drinks that she's supposed to be having every day, or the chocolate mousse or whatever, he's just so, like, I'm surprised I didn't pick up on him a little sooner, but it all made sense.
Yeah.
Like, later on.
Absolutely.
What his involvement was.
And I also think that's something that they were trying to do at the same time, with the social issues and the gender, specifically with the women's role in the 60s, is like, we know as the viewer that something's going on. Like we feel like something supernatural is going on, but if you just like watch the scenes as they transgress, it just seems like she wants to be herself, and like gets the new haircut, wants to make this her home, and the Cassavetes and Guy Woodhouse are like, no, don't do that, like conform to what we're doing, you're gonna be a mother soon, like just stay in that role, I'm gonna go out and be the studio actor. So they're kind of like trying to keep her in that traditional role, where at the 60s it was kind of women were gaining more of their rights and being seen as equals more. So I think if you don't know the supernatural elements there, where she's, going to be the mother of Satan, spoiler alert, mother of yeah.
To this day.
Oh yeah, FYI, 1968, June 12th, that's when Rosemary's Baby came out. So it's been 50 years.
We coincidentally did it on the same day.
Yeah. Which, yeah, we do that quite a bit. I think we did that with Suspiria and
we did.
And Creep, yeah.
Was it Creep as well?
I think it was like not as long of one. Like Suspiria was like 30, I think Suspiria was like 40 years. 50 years is Rosemary's Baby. I think like Creep was like the second year or something like that.
It was like 3 years or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's funny, like, because like it always happens when we like delay something for a real long time, and like, oh yeah, like, FYI, this movie came out 50 years ago. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like just totally meant to be.
It's like, no, you know what? I don't feel like recording today. I'm gonna wait until the exact moment it was released.
Yeah.
Down to the minute.
Mm-hmm. Really paid tribute to it. Really paid tribute to Rosemary's Baby.
Makes a lot more sense. So, you guys, I had a question. The Castevets had a girl named Terry living with them, right? And who Rosemary briefly encounters toward the beginning of the movie. And then, not long after, it's, they find out that Terry killed herself jumping off out of their window on, 7 floors up or something. Does it ever really explain, why exactly she did that? Or did I miss something? And I'm guessing she knew, what they were all about.
My thoughts on it are, and I don't know if it's explained in the book more, is that she was wearing that necklace with the tannis root in, which is, the tannis root is, it's like the devil's pepper, it said. It's what they use in the satanic rituals. Anyway, Terry was her name. She's wearing the necklace, and she shows it to her. And I think she figured out, because she's living with the Castevets, that they're this satanic cult, and that maybe she's going to be the bearer of Satan's offspring. They wanted her to be it, I'm thinking. And she got wise to it, and then decided that she'd rather die than be the mother of the Antichrist, is my guess, because then they gave that necklace to Rosemary after she passed, and Rosemary notices that, and we see that scene where she's kind of thrown off. But that's my guess as to why she didn't.
Yeah. That would make a lot of sense.
Why accept the necklace when she knows that the woman who killed, she saw the dead body.
You're
she saw the dead body. Oh, there's that necklace?
That's true.
I wanted you to have it. You know what? Maybe not. There's probably some blood in there still. Maybe that's why it smells funny. Yeah. She didn't jump off a fucking building.
Yeah.
I guess she just felt awkward in the moment, and so she took it. But she is wearing it later, correct?
Yeah.
Throughout the film?
Is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, those people are kind of pushy, especially a wife, Minnie.
But I guess she's just
I probably would feel like I couldn't say no
her
either.
character's just kind of a pushover anyways. It kind of seems like you guys have been saying that anyways.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're just trying to make her conform to, Satanism, essentially. But we don't know that until the end.
When that was revealed, when I first saw it, I was really shocked.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly had no idea that was coming, which I thought was pretty cool.
I agree. I think because I think it does a good job of you do feel like something's eerie or something's going on, just because you're from Rosemary's point of view and how they're treating her. You just feel like they're in on something, but I don't think you're thinking cult. The only real instances we get of that is during the dream sequence when she was drugged and it looks like she's being raped by Satan, but we think she's sleeping or having a nightmare, and we don't really know if that's real or not. She says, "This isn't a dream, this is real," but I don't know if we're supposed to fully believe her because it's so supernatural compared to the rest of the film.
Yeah, it's really juxtaposed, and you're just what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And it is only from her point of view the entire movie, so yeah, that's also another element.
And then when she wakes up, she has scratches. You're like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, that scene afterwards is that was my response, because he's like, "Oh, sorry, don't worry, I clipped him. I had some hangnails. No need to worry." She's like, "But I was asleep." He's like, "Oh, it was kind of fun in a necrophilia way." And I was like, "That's weird, dude."
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's when you know something is off with dude.
Didn't want to miss baby day. Isn't that what he said?
Yes, that was it. Yeah, go to miss baby day. So I did it.
And I'm like,
what?
I'm like, that's really fucked up.
Yeah. No,
I think
not
because
cool.
I don't know if it's during this time. I'm not sure, but there was a time in America where a husband it was basically legal to rape his own wife.
Yeah.
That didn't exist.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think what this film, again, with that countercultural movement, is trying, like, Guy Woodhouse and the Satanists are supposed to represent, like, the traditional society. Not that society is the devil, but, like, just that their conformity, and she's, like, the changing woman. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, definitely during this time, that was all happening, what you're talking about. That it shouldn't be okay for a guy to just rape his wife. That shouldn't be okay. It was happening in the 60s. Like, Roe versus Wade was happening. That was 70s, I guess. But, like, birth control was happening in the 60s.
A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff happened in the 60s.
Yeah, a lot of stuff did.
Too many to count.
Yeah.
Would you say that this movie is, like, really progressive or really conservative?
You mean, like, in the themes of the movie, like what we see as for the characters?
Yes.
Or yeah. I could see both ways. I see some people I've read who are like, Rosemary's really like a pushover and she's really reserved and it's kind of offensive to, like, you know, just that in itself. But I mean, I guess I'm looking at it at a subtextual level. I was looking at it from the countercultural of the times, is like she's trying to be different and they're the society, which would be the conservative aspect of it. She's trying to be different and they're trying to keep her in that role, which in the end she does stay in that role, which it could be seen as conservative. She does take the mothering role at the end. And she did say she was raised Catholic, which I think kind of goes like with the religious guilt and conservatism that is shown in the movie. Because it has like both. Because like in like how you said, like it's like offensive that she's such a pushover, but like also just there's people that are just pushovers now even. So it's not like that's anything that has changed. Like maybe some people would stand up, but there's also people that don't. Sure. Just a personality trait. Person. Exactly. It's like hard to pinpoint like I just on that, but like it's kind of interesting that both like points of view are there. I think it kind of like adds a lot of like levels to the movie because it like you could interpret it like both ways because you're like if you have that kind of mindset, you're like, oh, I see it this way, and then if you have the other one, you see it that way. Kind of just makes me.
I think.
No, I was just gonna make a joke that like it makes me think of the South Park episode where the kids write like a terrible book and then like they make it Butters is like the author because they didn't want to get in trouble, and then like all these people critique it. They're like, this is the most conservative book ever made. They're like, what are you talking about? This is the most progressive book ever written. Yeah. It just makes me think of that.
Yeah, it's got progressive aspects, I think, but for me, I think when I think of it, it would be more like ending up conservative because of how it ends and how it seems that, you know, at the end when she's like smiling and like, you know, it's really creepy in my opinion. It seems like it's her kind of acceptance of the situation. So yeah, she does kind of fall back into that mold that they've set for her, I guess.
Yeah. Which then the end credits as she's holding the baby, and the beginning credits is that like lullaby, like creepy lullaby. That it.
Not a fan.
It's creepy.
I know, like Mia Farrow is the one that sings it, and I'm just like, no, stop. But it is like kind of harrowing, you know.
Yeah. Oh.
So I guess it achieves that.
Yeah, that lullaby is really creepy.
Yeah.
And repetitive.
There's another lullaby that's like also before like a supernatural movie. The movie's called The Innocents. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. It's like early 60s. It's in black and white. It's really good. I think it's also based off a novel. And then there's just like the creepiest lullaby in the beginning of the movie, and I'm just like, oh my god, I am fucking terrified already.
Yeah. It sets you up.
But yeah, that movie's really good. So probably one in the future do that.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
but also just watch it as soon as you can. I have it on Blu-ray.
Did anyone pick up on the fact that the baby was born June 1966?
Yeah.
That was like 666.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I didn't
I
realize that until
I
after.
didn't even realize it now. And I've seen
Yeah.
this movie like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, because I think the time frame of the movie is 1965, like August, no, like December, right? Something like that, to June of 66. So born on 666. Yeah. Which, that also coincided. That was something with the birth of Satanism, like as a religion. The guy who created Satanism, the Church of Satan, sorry, was in 66. So, and it was supposed to coincide, the author, with when the Rosemary's Baby is born, was when the actual Church of Satan in real life was created by this guy. I forget his name. LaVey, I think his name is.
I knew
Wow, that is too much for me.
I knew someone. I used to work with them that they claimed to be a Satanist, and I was like, okay. Like I didn't believe her. Like she said a lot. She said a lot of things.
I guess we've talked somewhat about the plot and the themes of the movie. Anybody have any backstory trivia, or I mean, this is the 50th anniversary. I think it's without say, it's always on the list of like top 10 horror movies or films you have to see. The 68 version.
I got some trivia for you. What?
Fire away.
From my own personal viewing experience. I watched the last time I actually watched this movie, I watched half of it. And let's just say I was on a type of drug. I'm not going to say which one. And it really, really amplified the fucking experience. Where I was beyond terrified of just the wallpaper. And then I was like, man, this movie's fucked up. Like, I was just like thinking to myself the whole time. Because I like knew everything that was happening in the movie because I've seen it already. And I was just like thinking of it. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so scared. And then like, I was like, I gotta go home. Like, I was at my friend's house. I was in my friend's basement. I was like, I gotta go home. I can't watch this movie anymore.
Oh, that's good. That's some great trivia.
On the heels of that, I read that for like casting, Jack Nicholson was an option initially, but I think Roman Polanski nixed him because he thought that his appearance was like slightly like quote too like sinister. I thought that was interesting. I don't think I could see Jack Nicholson in that role, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems like it reminded me a little bit of like, what's his name from The Shining, where he's a writer, but it's from his point of view. I think
Jack Torrance or whatever.
Jack Torrance, yeah.
Torrance,
there we go. Yeah, but it's from his point of view, and I think if he was Guy Woodhouse, he would have been too sinister, as you said. Like, he would have been like, oh, yeah, this guy's in on something. This guy, he's evil, like, right?
Right, like, right away. But I think...
This dude's the devil, right?
I think John Cassavetes, it's more subtle with him, at least, until more is revealed. But, yeah, I kind of thought,
Yeah, he's a
very
very...
good guys.
He's a very stereotypical man of the 60s, I feel like, so it's like kind of hard to pinpoint it more. Like, oh, he's a piece of shit because he wants more acting roles. Basically, he just sold his wife just so he could get more money.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he's just an asshole.
Sold his soul.
Yeah, it's true. He did that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there were no limits for Guy Woodhouse.
Well, his name is Guy, so that's a
I know,
first.
that's like...
You know.
I was really disappointed when I figured that out. Because I don't usually remember characters' names in movies that I watch, but it's kind of hard to forget that one.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Matt. I was gonna say something dumb.
I just read that John Cassavetes was like really like improvising in his scenes and like did not get along with Roman Polanski based on how scripted and framed that Roman Polanski had this film. Because if you notice, a lot of the shots are long shots where they don't cut and they kind of follow people or they hold it there, which I thought was really good. I thought it gave you like a good sense of like a layout of the apartment, like in real time, which is good. So there was not a lot of room for John Cassavetes to work, and Polanski really reeled them back, and they didn't get along really well because of that.
I feel like this movie doesn't really call for like improvisation. Like I don't know, like it's not like even like or comedy where like there's a little room for it. Even then, I feel like I don't know. This is how I feel personally. Is that improv is usually inferior to like more like something that's like has like a process because it kind of like you get to fine tune it a little bit more.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But like I guess with some actors, like you have the script and what's written, and then you're like, oh, can I do that again? Like another take, and you want to try it differently. It'll be like, I want to kind of do it like this, and maybe they'll take that.
Gotcha.
Like some improvised scenes get kept, but are like the same line, just differently.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think Polanski was like, no, this is how the book dialogue is written. Do it like the book.
Yeah.
Don't veer from the book.
Yeah, so I can see, there's artistic differences there, but William Castle, the producer, I think he was quoted as saying, like, he didn't think Roman Polanski knew that he could have a lot more freedom to play with the script. That's why it was such a close adaptation, and that's why there was no room for improvisation. So yeah, that all kind of makes sense when I read that. I was like, oh, okay. So yeah,
that makes sense. One bit of trivia that I always like, and this is horror trivia in general, is the remake of The Omen in 06, June of 06.
Yeah, I remember that came out.
The nanny of Damien is Mia Farrow.
Oh, for real?
I always like that piece of trivia that she's the nanny of the Antichrist in The Omen.
That's really funny. I never saw that Omen.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. So, another thing, just backstory about this movie is it was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, and it won for Best Supporting Actress, Ruth Gordon. So Miss Cassavetes won Best Supporting Actress for this film. And it was also nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, which it didn't win, which I thought it would because how much praise people give it for being like close to the book.
Yeah.
But
I feel like Mia Farrow should have deserved an Oscar for this performance.
Yeah, I do too. I thought she was really good.
But I wonder if this is like, you don't even have to look it up, but I wonder if this is the first horror movie to get a nomination, because I can't think of any that would come before that have been that significant. Because like the only one that really like comes up is like The Exorcist, I think won one, and that was like in the fucking 70s. And then of course you got like, I think the others got like a nomination, and then like sure, I'm forgetting one somewhere. Oh yeah, Silence of the Lambs, can't forget that because it actually won Best Picture.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up, but I think there was one before this one. Like, did Psycho get nominated for anything? Like, that was 6D.
That'd probably be the only one that would make sense, but I can't think. I'm not good with nominations. Like, I can't remember. Like, before that, Oh God, I can't even think what would come up. Like, maybe because makeup wasn't a thing like back then. Like for the category in the monster movies would have gotten that easily.
Yeah. I'm looking here, and I don't know how well. Yeah, these I would consider some of these horror. Yeah, Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
Was nominated in 43.
Okay, that's pretty.
50. The Bad Seed in 56 received 4 Oscar nominations, including for acting. And then Hitchcock in 60 was a 4-time nominee, including Best Picture for Rebecca. He won for Rebecca. Released Psycho, that earned Best Director, and Best Supporting Actress for Janet Leigh.
Oh, okay.
So a few, not many, but I think really it was Psycho that kind of... Well, I guess Bad Seed got 4 Oscar nominations.
I haven't seen Bad Seed. That's one it's been on my list for a while, but I've heard good things.
Yeah. A little side tangent about the Oscars. I did the research into what else was nominated in 68 that was up against like Best Adapted Screenplay for Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
But I looked over at Best Original Screenplay. And what do you think won in 1968 for Best Original Screenplay?
I'm really bad at this.
I guess this would have been the 69 Oscars. Because they came out in 68.
The Wild Bunch.
Okay.
I don't even think that was the right year. I just know it's late 60s.
Yeah. Lindsay, do you have a guess?
No, I'm really bad at this.
Oh. It was The Producers by Mel Brooks.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I nailed the year, Matt, for Wild Bunch.
Oh, really? Was it 68 or 69?
It's 69.
69?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yes. But it surprised me even more that Producer's a great screenplay, but it beat out 2001: A Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick. Which, that's a good year for me.
I can't believe I didn't even think about that. Why did I think Wild Bunch over 2001: Space Odyssey? It's so weird. Yeah, that is very surprising that 2001: Space Odyssey didn't get Best Screenplay. Maybe because it's too close to the book, but even though it's not even close to the book at all.
No, it's up for Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah.
It was not even an adapted.
He like completely changed fucking everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was working with the writer of the book as it was being written.
Yeah. Which I guess is kind of like this one, but Polanski wasn't working with Levin, but they got the rights for the movie before he published the book.
Right.
I don't defend Roman Polanski much because you shouldn't, but there's just some of his movies I just really like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Like The Pianist, that movie's so fucking depressing and good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I said it right. I always say that word wrong.
The Pianist? Yeah, that's right. Okay.
It just sounds dirty, you know?
Repulsion is good. I mean, Rosemary's Baby. It's not a great movie. Chinatown.
Chinatown's real good.
Yeah. I don't have...
That's the one that's obviously comes up a lot in lists.
Yeah. And I'm also... It's not a great movie, but I always watch it, is The Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp. It's another Satan...
Did he direct that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's another satanic cult one. Mm-hmm.
I like The Tenet a lot. That movie's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That movie's weird. Yeah, I just remember how weird that movie is.
I think it's safe to say as well, with this movie being, in the top 100 movies you need to see, regarded as a classic horror film, it was a success at the box office.
Yeah, I think it kind of paved the way for several occult movies that followed. I know it was compared a lot with The Exorcist and The Omen in
Yeah,
the
definitely.
70s, so it was a little bit ahead of all that.
And even we were talking about before the podcast, Hereditary that's coming out. The director said Rosemary's Baby influenced that film. And Jordan Peele said with Get Out that he took influence from Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like the ideas of, it kind of has that same vibe of, it seems like a normal setting.
Yeah.
Of like this family, and there's an outsider coming into it, and you don't know what's really going on until the end, where like a kind of a cult scenario is revealed.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. Behold, the coagula. I was always thrown off by that when they said that.
Yeah. Same.
But anyways, Lindsay,
Wait.
defend or destroy?
Definitely defend through and through. I've never seen this movie before. I'm sure it's shocking to you guys. I think it's like one of the best movies that we've watched since I've been on the podcast. Yeah, that's a bold statement, but I'm going to stand by it. I think the slow burn and the gradual suspense elements in the story are all really great. I think it was directed and written extremely well. The occult aspects I found really disturbing. It stayed with me for quite a while after watching, and I felt super uncomfortable, but not so much that I'm not going to watch it again. Because there's a distinct difference between between that. But yeah, I definitely would watch it again, 100%.
Nice.
What about y'all?
I'll echo a major defend, and for several of the reasons I mentioned prior, where it does a great job of building that atmosphere, and it was, it brought the gothic horror to an urban setting. It's regarded as one of the more modern horror films where it took things from the rural area or the monster era and turned things into everyday living in New York. And I also enjoyed it for the ideas of it. It used a social critique. Same way, Get Out does, is it's like what's going on at the time and really make that the metaphor for the movie. That's the supernatural terror. Yes, there's a satanic cult, but also it's really looking at her role in society. And she becomes the mother and she conforms. That's what she's supposed to be. But it's not really, you don't see a ritual really. It's kind of, you're building up the suspense in your head. And I fully defend Rosemary's Baby. Y'all should watch it if you haven't.
Are y'all saying y'all now?
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, Pete.
Not where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what accent I was trying to do
there. Yeah. So, Pete, are you going to destroy it, or are we going to have an outlier?
I'm not going to destroy. I've seen this movie like 4 or 5 times. I don't watch a movie 4 or 5 times if I want to destroy it. I hate it so much, I just want to keep watching it.
I hate it so much, it's irresistible.
Like, I'm just going to torture myself with it and just do Clockwork Orange or just have my eyes open the entire time. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I defend this movie a lot, and I was actually really surprised when Matt picked it, because I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that we haven't done this movie yet. Mm-hmm. And it kind of makes up for what I was missing, my complaints from Night of the Demon, how we wanted more stuff from the occult, and I feel like this one delivers. Even though you don't see a lot of it, it makes you think about it more, which I feel kind of fills the satisfactory. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. Fills that satisfaction more because it gets you thinking about it because you feel like something is up, and then when it's revealed at the end, you're trying to piece everything that happened beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's a really cool thing to have in a movie where you got this nice not like twist ending, but like you got a big reveal, and then it's like interesting and surprising, and I know like talking about it flat out is like kind of ruining the movie, but also like we also just spoil every movie we watch anyways.
Yeah.
And it's 50 years old to this day.
Yeah. Yeah, get on it already.
So like get over it. Watch the fucking movie anyways. You're gonna forget about it anyways because you're gonna be watching a YouTube video at the same time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. While doing your taxes. Yeah. Yeah. Before, that's unanimous defend from the It Records gang, by the way. But before we, wrap it up, I'm just going to slightly mention sort of the iterations, the sequels and remakes that came from Rosemary's Baby. If you're interested at all, there was a television film in '76 called "Look What's Happened to Rosemary's Baby." That's the title of it. I don't think there's anybody. Oh wait, no, Ruth Gordon was in it. But no Mia Farrow. Then in 2014, NBC made a mini-series with Zoe Saldana called Rosemary's Baby. And as of 2008, which is now a decade old, they were talking about making an actual movie remake with Michael Bay attached.
Ugh, God.
So I don't think that's going to happen, but we still... I mean, Halloween's coming out soon. They're making another Friday the 13th, so...
I thought that got canned.
Oh, it did. You're correct. It was supposed to come out, I think, in February of this year, because there was a Friday the 13th in this February, right?
I think so.
It was supposed to come out then, and they canned it. You're right. But I believe they've just rebooted it. They're going to make it. I don't know if they need to do, like, reshoots or something, but it's going to happen again.
They're just like Jason. He just keeps coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, I recently just watched Jason X, by the way. It's a tangent, but fucking phenomenal movie. That movie's great.
That's pretty bad. It's not as good as Final Chapter, Part 4, Far from the Final Chapter. I actually really like Part 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like Part 6, which is... I don't even remember what it's called.
There's 10. Jason X is 10. Before that's Jason Goes to Hell. Then before that's Jason Goes to Manhattan, which is 8.
Which I haven't seen. I haven't seen 8 or 9, but I've seen 10.
Yeah. So there's Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, which is 3D. 4 is Final Chapter. What's 5, 6, and 7?
5 is New Beginning. 6 is like Jason Lives, I think.
Mm-hmm.
7 is like with the psychic. I just remember that. And it's great. And also terrible.
Alright, well with that, we've talked about Rosemary's Baby today. Thanks for joining us on the airwaves with the It Records podcast gang. We'll be back, bi-weekly. Catch us, wherever we are. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. We have a webpage. Let us know what you're thinking, and if you want us to... do any episodes, and we have a contest out, by the way. So if you go online to Facebook or the website or anywhere on Twitter, we have a question posed up there, and the first one to answer, we put your name in a hat, and you'll win the 35-year anniversary of Halloween on DVD.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah. So that is up for grabs if whoever gets it right. But until next time, I am Matt Johnson, and I will remain in the shadows in the hallway closet in the Brantford Apartments.
Whoa.
I don't even know what to say.
My name is Peter Hansen, and I'm like, what have you done to its eyes?
I'm Lindsay Clark, and those are definitely his father's eyes.